The new COVID vaccine should be ready by about next week. As early as next Wednesday, we will see the rollout of the vaccine that should be, they say, effective for the BA.286 variant. As always, talk to your doctor about what's right for you. But let's talk about the politics of the matter. New COVID booster shots to be rolled out next Wednesday, but only 17% of Americans got the last one. I think for the most part, there is money to be made. A lot of people take a more political view of these things, but I think when it comes to the 2020 mandates and things like that, guaranteed no liability contracts for big pharmaceutical companies, they will lobby for that all day and night. Here we are. They say the director of the CDC, Mandy Cohen, is expected to sign off on the shots on September 13th, making them available. CDC experts are yet to say who will be offered the updated vaccines, but the White House previously suggested they would be made available to all age groups. Only 17% of Americans have come forward to get a single updated booster since the two-dose regimen was expanded, amid growing vaccine hesitancy and suggestions that middle-aged adults who have stronger immune systems do not need the updated shots. Listen, I got to tell you, while I think COVID is bad, and it was really bad when I had it, you've got a lot of people who've experienced it who just don't really care all that much. As bad as it was for a lot of people, they probably got a weaker variant. It wasn't that bad, and they just don't think that much about it. That's the political view. Look, I'm not a doctor. You ask your doctor what makes sense for you. You're different. You're an individual, right? Some people are at risk. Some people are not. But I got to say, when the average person is not seeing like an airborne Ebola or anything like that, they're not going to care. And that's just the way it is. Not to mention, I think a lot of people are really distrusting of big pharma these days. So we'll see how this one rolls out. They say the updated boosters are mRNA vaccines that are being made by Pfizer and Moderna. They're designed to target the XBB 1.5 or Kraken variant that was dominant in the U.S. for most of the summer. But early test results from Moderna show the shot will also likely be effective against BA.286 or Pirola, which has sparked fears over a fresh wave. Oh, yeah. You know what I think? It's less about any kind of vaccine and more about creating a narrative that there are going to be lockdowns coming. Whoopi Goldberg was out at The View because she tested positive for COVID. And what did Joy Behar say? It's back. Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with a medical prescription. I think it has more to do with a political prescription, because I will say it again. Who are these people on TV to come out stoking fear over a thing? Okay, you want to get a doctor to talk about it, you get a doctor to talk about it. But this is the funny thing that has always been interesting when it came to COVID. When it comes to celebrities telling you to take medicine outright without a doctor, I was flabbergasted. You have the likes of Casey Neistat. He's a good dude. I know him. I think he's great. But he puts out a tweet saying, go get vaccinated. And I said, hey, come on, man. Like, go talk to a doctor. Okay. We want to listen, let's be as neutral as we can on this. The vaccine should be for people who are vulnerable and need it. Oh, you can take any direction you want. Some people don't trust it. Some people think everyone should get it. But isn't there a middle approach where we're just trying to be reasonable and say, if we're not being partisan, by all means, think whatever you want. But you go talk to a doctor, talk about your risk factors, and maybe he says yes. He probably will say yes. Why not? But I'm talking about, don't we want elderly people to get it more importantly, than anybody else? You get these celebrities saying, go get it. And my response was, no, they should talk to a doctor first. And the response I got from Casey was, weird. I pulled into a parking lot and they just gave me the shot. And I'm like, you drove into a parking lot and let a strange person outside your door just inject you? Like, you got to go to a doctor, man. But that's my point. My position has always been, as it pertains to all of this lockdown stuff, talk to a doctor. Find one you trust. There are a lot of people on the right who say, I can't trust doctors. You can't. Oh, come on, dude. You can find a doctor you can trust. Okay. On the left, they outright said just to go to a parking lot to get it. And I'm like, isn't there like a middle ground or something? Yeah. Well, here's what I think. Outside of any of that, your views on medication, I think it's a component of the story. They are going to be bringing back some kind of mandates or lockdowns. It'll likely be what they did last time. They'll issue guidelines. The private sector will then adhere to these guidelines. There were governments involved. Democrat governors were, of course, like, we better lock down. But a lot of these big corporations chose to do it based on guidelines and recommendations. We got this story from the National Review. Mask mandates return for Maryland elementary school. Just one more school. We've already seen several hospitals and several schools bring back these mandates. The National Review reports 1 week into the 23-24 school year, a Maryland elementary school has reinstated mask mandates because 3 or more individuals tested positive for COVID, an email sent to parents said. Students and staff in identified classes or activities will be required to mask while in school for the next 10 days, except while eating or drinking. The Rosemary Hills Elementary School principal, Rebecca Irwin Kennedy, sent a letter to parents on Tuesday informing them of the mask policy. Kennedy also said in the email that at-home rapid test kits will be sent home and made available, blah, blah, blah. You get the point. We're hearing that in Israel, hospitals are now requiring PCR tests. Whoopi Goldberg, as I mentioned, not on The View. And Joy Behar says she's got COVID. It's back. What a creepy and disgusting thing to say. It's back. Oh, yeah, just in time for 2024, huh? Sure. I'm not so convinced it'll play out the way the Democrats hope it will, because the last time around Trump was president, Trump got the blame for it. The Hill reports Biden tests negative for COVID-19 on Tuesday. Will mask around others. Yeah, here it comes. You know, a lot of people in the media are saying it's a conspiracy theory that there will be mandates or lockdowns, and they will maintain that position because any mandates that come will likely be private sector. Walmart, Target, big box stores, airlines, they'll require it, but the government won't mandate it. They'll recommend it. And then what happens? You're going to get these well-to-do liberal types who are going to be like, why aren't you wearing a mask? You have to wear one. You're going to get corporations saying, we want it done. And then people are going to start wearing masks all over the place. I don't know exactly how this plays out. It may fizzle out. It may be nothing. But I got to say, it's a little weird that we're getting all of this news happening at once. Why is it that Jill Biden gets COVID? Whoopi Goldberg gets COVID. In Israel, they're requiring PCR tests. Mask mandates have come back to certain hospitals and schools. A new vaccine is being rolled out. Biden wants everyone to get the new vaccine. Fauci says he's concerned that if they issue a mask guideline, people won't do it. All of that happens around the same time. Alex Jones says he spoke to a TSA agent or employee who said they were going to be bringing back masks. Is it just all one big coincidence, man? So I'm not surprised if the average person is convinced we will see a return of mandates and COVID restrictions when all of a sudden, all at the same time, just before winter, just before 2024's presidential cycle, we get this news. Because we didn't get it in 2022 or 23. Things were relaxed. Now, all of a sudden, it's back. Political, huh? Check out Freedom Tunes. Seamus Coughlin has a great video about the political nature of COVID. And in the video, I voice Dr. Fauci. So I recommend it. It's really good. But basically, in the cartoon, the general idea is it's COVID, the virus, on a late night talk show saying he doesn't want to be political anymore. And then everyone's shocked and they want him to be political because COVID was always political. And now we have an election cycle. And sure enough, it hath returned. Look, there's always going to be some October surprise. There's always going to be some political strategy. We have been locked in an election cycle since 2015. It has never ended. Politics has become pop culture, and anything that creates a wedge issue or generates votes, power, or fear will be maximized and utilized. Tucker Carlson says he does not think they will go this route. But I'm not so convinced. He says he thinks they'll start a hot war with Russia, which we're basically already in. I say, why not both? Some people are already suggesting that the purpose of mandates and lockdowns, it's going to be political to ramp us up and prepare us for war. I've talked about this before. What did the lockdowns and restrictions do? Decentralized our economy to a certain degree. Offices aren't centralized in New York City anymore. If all the employees of your company are in New York and then New York is under some kind of attack, how does your company operate? How does the American economy operate? Now you have remote workers. Now you have people moving to a bunch of different states and spreading out, moving to suburban areas, rural areas, Texas and Florida. That's beneficial for the United States in the event a war breaks out. The more we get remote work capabilities, we can maintain communications and economic operations in the event a city is hit by, nuclear weapon. But I don't know. Russian state TV said they will nuke the U.S. territory directly in retaliation if the U.S. engages in war with Russia. Maybe it's all hot air. Or maybe we're getting a little bit of all of it. We don't know because, there's confidentiality, there's top secret, etc. There's classified information. We could be on the brink of chaos, or it could all be media hype for money. It's up to you to figure it out because I don't have the answers. All I can tell you is all of these things are happening right now around the same time. And that's why people think it's likely coming. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.